Hello and welcome to MissionChief.com. I'm Horny Devil, and we will be doing a tutorial video on the dispatch center. So most counties have dispatch centers within the whole county. They usually have their own individual ones. Sometimes they will lease out their services to another county to actually cover their dispatching needs if the county is too small, if that makes sense. So today we have San Mateo County Regional Dispatch Center. This is the actual main building right here where the dispatch center is out of. They do also have an alternate dispatch center here at the fire station number 9. This is specifically for San Mateo County. Every county is a little bit different. Sometimes you'll have multiple different dispatch centers for police, fire, and EMS. They will kind of interchange the person you'll be talking to. There is a separate person for fire, separate person for EMS, and a separate person for police. So yeah, we'll be talking about these today and kind of the options they have and all these different things that are going on with them. So without further ado, how do you make a dispatch center? Come to new buildings here. Type of building. There's a lot of different buildings here, a lot of different ones, but we'll be hopping on dispatch center. I do believe, and I don't remember the ratio, I believe it's 1 to 25, but it could be less. Let's just double check right here. Let's just build a dispatch center out here in the ocean because no one's going to be getting calls out here. So we'll just name this 1 and build it. There's typically a ratio. So you need to build a certain amount of stations to dispatch centers. And I believe it's 20, but it could be 25. And we're going to find out here real quick with dispatch centers. We're going to keep building these as much as we can before we go. You can only build 8 stations? Apparently there might be a game max for dispatch centers. That's interesting. I think we just reached a cap, which is pretty unfortunate, not gonna lie. I would have to double check this, but according to this information, you can only build 8 stations. Interesting. I'll have to do a little more research on that, but we're gonna refund these buildings real quick. But like I said, when you're first starting on the game, you are typically building fire stations first. Once you hit, I believe, 20 fire stations, you can build a second dispatch center, but it could be 25, like I said. So they don't cost any money to build, but they do count as buildings. Like I said, that is a main thing, and I don't know how to say this in an easy way. If you're doing tasks and events, and you have an event that says build a building, dispatch centers count as a building. So I'm just gonna throw it out there. I have done some things in tasks and events to cheese the system, and I'm just gonna leave that at there. Okay. So that's the dispatch center. How to build it. With that, we do have multiple settings. So we have planned events, this is just like helpful information if you have a large service area. These are timed calls. So as you can see, we have 41 minutes and 25 seconds left on this call, and all these are timed as well. So these will eventually go away once they're done here, but new ones will always be done. I don't like timed calls because they're annoying and they clog up my resources, and I just don't have time for them, to be honest. So I just never do these timed ones. The log here, this will show you expansions within the dispatch area. What is the best way I'm gonna? This will tell you things you've built within the dispatch center area. I don't know how the best way I'm gonna explain this, but so if you've done an upgrade, it's history. It's like your history log on your phone. And if we look into statistics here, so San Mateo County Regional Operations Center has. Oh my God. Guys, I'm at work. I just gotta pick up this call real quick. I'm just gonna mute my mic real quick, and I'll be right back with you. All right, sorry about that. I just sorry. Okay. So this will tell you statistics and stuff like that with San Mateo Regional Operations Center. They will tell you different things for different areas. We do have SFO. I kind of lost my train of thought, to be honest. I kind of forgot what I was doing here. Statistics. Okay, so as you can see, fire stations, this will tell you how many different things you put in the thing. How many fire stations you attach to the communication center. So for instance, SFO, I put all the buildings that reside in the county of San Francisco, aka all these buildings that are within this county line. You can see this little purple line here, all these buildings. Everything that's in here, let's take off the calls here though, so it can help you see a little bit better. All these buildings that are in here, there's technically 48 fire stations in here. All the police departments, everything in here gets added up and can be shown in here in this statistics tab. So there's 48 stations of fire department, 4 ambulance stations, 0 water stations, 12 police departments, 3 hospitals, 3 coastal stations, and yada yada yada. It also shows you how many police vehicles, engines there are, and every single different type with that. How much staff you have. Very helpful, actually. But the thing you need to do is actually attach the building to the dispatch center. How do you attach to the dispatch center? Let's take a look at station 6 here. So let's go into edit. As you can see here, we have the name of the station, how many personnel, assigned dispatch center. So the assigned dispatch center that we chose was SFO because this station resides in the SFO area. So we chose this one. If we were to put it in Santa Cruz County or anywhere else, it would kind of mess up our things, I guess. The way we operate the game. But yeah, let's just head back to the station. So hopefully that explains statistics to you guys. It's very helpful. To be honest, I don't really use it, but to some people it might be helpful. So buildings. This will show you different things. Oh, that's why. So this Dominican hospital is not actually assigned to a dispatch center. So we're going to assign this to, let's add this to Santa Cruz Regional 911, SCR. And then if we head back to the dispatch center, that shouldn't even be popped in here. So buildings, yeah. As you can see, you don't have any buildings. This just shows the buildings tab is the ones that are not attached to a dispatch center. And then if we look at expansions, if you look under expansions, you can see that AMR, all these ones, you can manually from here, you can actually upgrade your stations without actually having to go to the station. So for instance, this the Brisbane here, BRB, which is Brisbane Police Department, you can get the Game Warden's office extension from the dispatch center without actually going to the police station. As you can see, we have the Game Warden, the police, the water police, and then we have the prison cell. We can get those expansions. Then if we head over to Brisbane, which is right up here. Oh, sorry, right here. Brisbane, then we go under expansions. You can see those exact expansions here that we could get. Like I said, you can either get the expansion here or you can get them from the dispatch center. All right, so that's expansions. Vehicles. Oh, whoopsies. Let's click on this one here. So vehicles, this will show you every single vehicle that you have attached to the county. This is, let's look under statistics. So all these vehicles listed here, these 85 rescue engines, 25 police vehicles, you will find all those vehicles in here. And I actually have used these quite a bit. Sometimes I forget to label a name. If we look over here, these are just ALS ambulances, and I just don't have them named. So it's easy to go in here. All these patrol cars that aren't named, you can easily go in here and actually change the name of them from this tab. So that's all pretty helpful. Training courses. So there is not dispatch center. There's schools. So if we look at the SFO Training Island, Treasure Island Training Facility here, we do have this school here. This one should be attached to SFO. So you can see that it's attached to SFO here. We don't actually have any schools attached to San Mateo County. That's probably why you didn't see anything there. But we'll head over here to SFO. We'll go to training courses. And as we can see, we do have 3. We have the Coast Guard Training Facility. We have the Treasure Island that I just showed you guys. And then we have the San Francisco Police Academy. All those will show up in here. You can start training. You can start training courses from this facility. You can also start your training courses if you go into the Alliance tab here, go to courses, and start from there. This is where you would go to see your Alliance courses, but you can also start courses from the building itself. So you just click on this, click on whichever tab you need, training, and then start, and then yada yada yada. All right, so patrol vehicles. So the only patrol vehicles you can use are police vehicles and ambulances. And here's why. So you can set patrol routes in this game. I've really never done it, but you can add them here. So it's kind of like adding different things in here. You can move them and make them go in a square and all sorts of different things. So if we wanted to add a patrol route here and we had a police car, we could make them go from area 1 here. They're going to follow the street all the way down here on Hayes Street, and then they're going to turn onto this street right up here. They're going to head north, and then once they hit number 2, they're actually going to head over to number 3, tab number 3. So they're going to take the road all the way up here to number 3, and then to number 4, and then back over to 1. So they're going to create a giant circle, and they're going to patrol this area all 24/7. Your patrol units, you can add 1 patrol unit, you can add 2, you can add 3, 4, 5. But yeah, they'll keep circling this area. They don't actually benefit the game. They can actually make your units out of place, or they can sometimes be closer to a call. They can sometimes be farther away than a call. But they don't actually patrol. They don't actually prevent crime in this game, because you can't actually do preventative things in this game. But yeah. So once you were to, if this is what a patrol route you want, if you want to do this little square right here, you would just do save, and then you name, you do a route name. And so let's say you had the route done, and you wanted to have them do this. If you wanted to have them do the patrol route, you go to patrol vehicles. You would just click the route, and you could add how many vehicles you want patrolling the route. If you wanted these 4 police vehicles patrolling the route, you could attach them to that route, and they'd all be patrolling there. So that's patrol routes and patrol vehicles. You can also do the same thing with ambulances. Ambulances can just do patrols. Yeah, it's easy as that. So this is the nitty-gritty of the dispatch center. All right. Maximum distance for Alliance missions. So let's say you get an Alliance mission, someone that shares a mission way out here at ECF Fire Station number 16, which I don't know what ECF stands for exactly. It could be like the city name and stuff like that, but this isn't my area, and I don't know off the top of my head. So let's say you get a mission out here, and someone's like, hey, I need some help, guys. I need an engine because there's none available, yada, yada, yada. So someone shares it, and your kilometers are 400 kilometers. This is within 400 kilometers, but sometimes if it's too far away, you can't respond to it. If this was shrunk down to 0 kilometers, you couldn't respond to any Alliance missions. If it was 10, you could respond to any Alliance mission that's within 10 kilometer radius. But I like to do 400. That's good. No limit is also pretty good if you want to go across the country. If you want to go across the country, you hit no limit. Like if someone shared a call in Texas, you could theoretically send your units from, California to Texas. You could do that. It would take a long time. It actually takes time for the vehicles to go from place to place. Yeah, that's maximum distance. I hope that explains it. The main dispatch center. This is something you can do. Mine is SFO. So when you first log into the game, let's go in here. Let's go to missionchief.com. It will spawn me in SFO area. You can see that this is SFO. This is where it spawns me every single time. And if we head all the way out of the city, let's just go over here to Africa. When I hit refresh, it's going to send me back to San Francisco. That's what that pretty much does. It'll send you back there every single time. Starting screen, which is the map. That is what I did in the map. I'm not exactly sure on this one. It's more like a thing. I think it lets you choose which one is bigger, I think, or what it looks like first. I'm not exactly sure on that setting. There's some things in this dispatch that I just don't understand, or that I just don't use. Your graphics set, Not exactly sure what this one does, but I'm pretty sure it's like a priority one. Um, yeah, not exactly sure what that one does, to be honest. Let's take a look here. Never mind, that's not even part of the dispatch center. Okay, show alliance vehicles from other missions you're not involved in. So we have San Jose here. If someone responds to a call in San Jose and they're going to another call in Oakland, let's say someone in Oakland, which Oakland is right up here, someone in Oakland shares a call, I can actually see the unit from Santa Clara, San Jose, sending their unit all the way up here and then going to Oakland. So I can see their vehicle actually moving, kind of like this ambulance right here is moving. I can see theirs moving as well. You can also change some of the settings in this tab right here. This will show you the buildings, missions, and other stuff like that. I just turned off my missions at the beginning of the game, so you can kind of see that stuff. You can also see, you can turn off Alliance buildings, so if you don't want to see Alliance buildings, you can turn those off. Last thing is with settings. Okay. Show vehicle routes on maps. I showed you guys vehicle routes. Vehicle routes, I don't know what color they are, but it shows you where the routes actually are on your map. Like when you put those 1, 2, 3, 4 pegs on your map, you can actually see the little outline. Automatically stand on EMS units when not needed. It's kind of self-explanatory. When EMS gets on scene, they can, if there's no patients, they'll just send themselves back available. I can't use this one because it requires premium. I just clicked it that I'm allowing it. Let's go to save, and it says, "Sorry, you need a premium account to use this function." I've never actually used it, so I can't tell you how it works. It would be pretty helpful. I'm not exactly sure what the mouse over on map fades out in active elements. I'm not exactly sure what that means. A static window, not sure what that does either. Show vehicle on map. I don't use the mobile version, so I can't really say. Show vehicles on map. Yeah, so like you guys just saw my little ambulance right over here. That'll show vehicles. If you don't want to see any vehicles, if you just want to see the calls being colorful, if you want to see them go from red to yellow to green, you can do that as well. Let's see what else we have going here. Into settings. Extend alarm and regulations in the alarm window. I'm not exactly sure what that does. In the error, show the maximum travel times. I don't do this one as well. Enable search functions. The search function is, let's see. So this is an ARR. So an ARR is this. It's called an alarm and regulations response. So I have specific units being sent to specific calls. I have them already preset. So you could set up a little search filter. You have a little magnifying glass. You could type in, okay, let's say we had, if we wanted to type up, basement fire. Obviously, we just spelled it wrong, but basement fire. It would show us this basement fire right here, but the tab would be right here. This is for the search function. So that's what that does. Let's see here. Search function. Show vehicle display limit message before and like response. Okay. So let's go to the industrial fire here. This is the one thing I hate about Mission Chief. Vehicle display limited. Load missing. It doesn't let you respond calls or respond units unless you hit this, which is so stupid. As you get incredibly big in this game with enough units, it floods the system and doesn't let you respond to calls, which is unfortunate, and you have to hit that every single time. I don't like that. The setting really doesn't do anything. It just more or less will annoy you. I've never really tinkered with it a lot, but if you want to tinker, you can definitely do that. Use my own POI. So a POI, if we head down here into set a new POI, you can add a terminal. Let's say this game, let's go over to the airport here. So we have a terminal 3, 1, 2, and 3, 4, terminal A, yada, yada, yada. If we wanted to add a terminal, we could do that right here. So we go to airport terminal, and you could save the POI. So that lets the game know that there is a POI there. Point of interest. Or something. I don't know what else it stands for. I believe it's point of interest. So since you have a terminal call there, terminal collapses will start spawning here, and jet bridge collapses, and all sorts of stuff will come when you do that. Um, since other people put down POIs in this game, you don't really have to put down POIs yourself. The game will sense that other people, like if I put a POI there and you're playing in San Francisco, the game would recognize, hey, there's a POI there. There's probably a terminal. It would actually start spawning in terminal collapses there, even though you've never actually put down the POI. And I think that leads into our next setting here. So only use POIs, which means you can use other people's POIs, which I just explained. Mission expansion, I never use this one, and this one is pretty easy to explain. In this call game, there is, if you know the call Little Field Fire, if you have 2 fire stations, you know what I'm talking about. Little Field Fire requires 2 engines. Once the first engine gets on scene, if you have this function clicked on, expand into a larger call, expand call, it will turn into a large fire. It can turn into a large fire. It might just stay a little field fire, or it could turn into a large field fire if you have that clicked. I have it clicked off, so that means when my engine gets on scene, that scene will always be a little field fire. It can never expand into a larger call. It just creates a lot of headaches for me, and I try to be extremely efficient in this game. So if the engine were to get on scene, 2 engines are getting there, and the little field fire turns into a large field fire. The large field fire requires different units than a little field fire, of course. So you're going to have to send water tankers, you might have to send battalion chiefs, you might have to send multiple more engines. And if you have 114 calls like I do, I don't have time to respond different units on scene. It's a lot of headache, to be honest. It might require that there's patients that were never there, so you'd have to send more EMS. It makes the game more realistic, yeah. But that's just the way I play. You don't have to play the way I play. I try to streamline my game to maximize my credits. And this game, it takes a lot of time to maximize credits. So yeah, radar notification when mission is expanded. Like I said, I don't really do it. It should make like a tone when the mission is expanded. Like I said, little field fire turns into a large field fire. It should let you a radio notification. Follow-up missions. Not exactly sure what this one does, but you can do follow-up calls. I've actually done them before, and I do them all the time here. So kayaker's blown off course. If we send a Coast Guard boat, the second the Coast Guard boat is done here, he will automatically go to this jet ski out of fuel. So let's go to follow-up, and then we can see that we just respond to that one boat here. So when this boat reaches that destination, finishes the call, he will respond here. So like I said, he's heading here now. Once he's done here, he will head directly to this call. Now that's what a follow-up is. And let's head back to the dispatch center. Follow-up mission. Okay, we just covered that. This game does create some earthquake missions, tornado missions, yada yada yada. You can disable those here. If you don't like earthquake missions, or your area isn't prone to earthquakes, turn it off. If your area isn't prone to tornadoes, which every area is technically prone to tornadoes, you can turn it off here. Disable event missions. We just had Easter, so if you were sick of getting chocolate bunnies on fire and melting chocolate bunnies in cars, you could turn it off here. I turned it off multiple times because I don't like the fake calls that this game generates. The animated mission bar, progress bar. Let's head over to the call that we just did here. This bar is shown, actually it might not be shown here. It'll be shown right up here, I do believe. Let's find it right here. So you can see that this bar is ticking down ever so slightly here. This is the progress bar. Yeah, that is what it's talking about. Settings. Automatically closes the alarm window after dispatch. I'm not exactly sure what this one does. Hide frequently asked questions. I don't need to ask myself frequently asked questions, so I don't know. Disable automatic transportation. This was with the new addition of the sheriff unit. The sheriff can automatically transport prisoners to the jail without you actually sending them to the specific jail that automatically do it. If you don't want them automatically doing it, do it here. Just click done. The second they want to transport to the jail, I have it set to 0. You can do 1 minute, 2 minutes. You can do 1 hour if you wanted. I do 0. The second they want to transport this person to jail, they can do it as much as they want. Do not show warning message when buildings are built too close together. If you're playing this game inaccurately, you can do that. If you want to put stations where stations really aren't real life, you can do that. I don't prefer it. I prefer to follow real life stations, fire stations, and apparatus. So yeah, this is, if you build them too close together, if you're doing it fake, if you're going to build fake stations, if you put 18 fire stations on one house or wherever you put it, the game does not like that. It will actually expand your call radius to like 300 kilometers, and you'll have to travel miles to go to these calls. Do not ask for confirmation when canceling all units. Never really use this one, and I'm not a big fan of it. Well, you can use it, but I don't really tinker with it. You can change, I don't know what Telegram is, I don't really use it. I wouldn't even worry about this one. Design, you can change the browsers to be like, this is white currently, you can turn this to black and all sorts of things like that. This is the main one. This is where I actually fumbled, but now that I know how to do it, they've changed settings a little bit, and I didn't realize what this function was. But this is the major one if you are going to play this game. Okay. This one's going to take some time to actually take and explain, and this is the most useful thing you're going to find out of this whole video. Let's go under Edit. Create your own coverage area. That is the main one I'm talking about here. But since we're on the topic of covering everything in the dispatch center, disable the dispatch center. If you click this, it is the same thing as turning this switch. If you make it out of service, yeah. If I turn this out of service, none of these fire stations would actually generate calls. So that's that is what that button does. Dispatch center. So like I said, I have multiple dispatch centers. So we have SFO, which is San Francisco, and we have San Mateo County, which is SMC, and then we have Santa Cruz now. These are all their own dispatch centers. So they have their fire stations, like I said, all in their own area. They don't go over county lines or anything like that. If you have 50 some fire stations, they will create calls that are too big for the area. If you have a population of 5,000 and a population of 5 million, you're going to have calls that are way different. You're going to have different calls, and I don't really know how I'm going to explain this to you guys because it's very complex. But if you want to separate your counties, you need to use this function. Not in settings there. We're going to go to Edit. You need to use this. Create your own coverage area. Stations belonging to this dispatch center are considered for missions to the assigned dispatch center. I don't know how to explain this without sounding too complicated, but you need to look into this if you're going to do it. If you're going to play realistically, and if you don't want to have calls that are extremely massive, like if you don't want to have a skyscraper collapse in the middle of the mountains, you need to use this function. If you don't want a terminal collapse where there's not an airport, you need to use this function. If you, it's crazy stuff, but you need to look into it if you're not gonna, if you want to separate your areas and not create too large of calls. I did it for here, and the reason is I will never get an industrial fire. I will not get an unknown tanker spill in this area until I reach the threshold. I'll talk about thresholds just real quick here. If you go to vehicle market, oh, it actually doesn't say it anymore. So platform truck. Once you've built 3 firehouses, you will start getting missions for the platform truck. Once you've built 6 firehouses, you will start getting calls for the battalion chief unit. Since I built a dispatch center, all these have reset. So when I first built my first station here, I will never get a call that requires a platform truck. I will never get a call that requires a battalion chief. Once I get my 3rd station, I will start getting calls that have the platform truck. Once I get 6 stations in this area, I'll start getting calls that require the battalion chief. So it resets your counter, if that helps. In the fire stations, in the police departments, this is what you're looking for. If you can't handle an area, you need to use this function. If you have 13 buildings in an area, you need to start looking at these different things. I might have to explain this in another video if you guys need more help with this. You can message me in the comments if you have any other questions regarding this dispatch center. But specifically, that last option is a very complex question And like I said, I'm at work and I actually do have to go do something real quick. And I would love to explain it right now, but I gotta skedaddle. But thank you for watching this episode of Mission Chief in this tutorial video. I hope it helped you guys. I'm a very confusing person sometimes, but this game is also very complex, somewhat complex. There's a lot of features that people don't know about, and a lot of features that people just overlook. But I'm just here to help. So thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.